Hi there, and welcome to Empowered with Faye. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time seeing my face, on this part of the internet, we talk about all things personal development, all things contributing to you becoming a better version of yourself. And if that is your type of vibe, you know what to do. Please join the family by subscribing. If it's my second time or third time, or I don't know how many times you've seen my face here, it means you've been sticking around and I have something exciting for you today. So in this video, as you can tell from the title, I want to talk about empowered systems, inspired by the fact that I have been struggling in so many areas of my life and as far as productivity is concerned. And I took it upon myself to actually do a deep introspection about what's really working for me and what's not working for me, and why the things that are not working for me are not working for me. So it took some time to actually work into creating a system or a structure that actually works for my flow and not against my flow. It's a concept that I've been trying to develop for some time now, particularly because I've been trying to find better ways of improving my productivity and progress in my work. As somebody who's working full-time and also that has, full of ambition for other things beyond just a full-time job, I do find myself sometimes overwhelmed by what I have to do, and also just not getting ahead with things that I plan to do. So I started being very kind to myself and not just defining procrastination as being lazy, but trying to understand the underpinning reason why I procrastinate on some days. In some days, challenge excites me. In other days, challenge doesn't excite me. It scares me instead. Why does that happen? So I thought that getting into a point where I understand how I respond to these things will help me create a system or a structure that's going to be sustainable over time and then improve my productivity. And that led me to creating empowered systems. I have been writing a bit about it in my blog, which I'm going to link on my description below. So please do check it out. As I'll be posting more blog posts in the coming weeks about the concept of empowered systems. Now, before I get ahead of myself, I just want to talk about what is empowered systems. But first, let me look at what it's not according to my definition. Empowered systems is not about doing more or trying to achieve more or squeezing more into your calendar. Empowered systems is not pressure. We only have 24 hours in a day, which means time is already a limited resource that we have. So we can only do so much, and we have to be realistic about what we can do with the time that we have, particularly if you're working full-time like me and you're juggling other things on the side as well. So what is empowered systems then? Empowered systems is all about creating a rhythm of things that resonate with my purpose and my drive at that particular point in my life. And secondly, empowered systems about creating a blueprint that aligns with my feminine flow. Now, speaking of alignment, empowered systems is all about making sure that you're aligned with your purpose, but most importantly, creating routines that support your growth on your terms. So what does that mean on your terms? It means productivity is what you will define on your terms. Productivity for you will be different from what productivity is for me. As someone who's excited about formulas and equations, I defined productivity using this one equation. So productivity is a structure that flows. So structure times flow over time, compounding over time, gives you productivity, gives you progress. So basically in empowered systems, we're going to create a structure, and multiplied with flow over time, it compounds to productivity. So next, let's look at how do we create a structure that flows. Before we get into that, I just want to talk about 3 books briefly that inspired this whole series, this whole empowered system series. So I'm going to start with this one, which I think is very exciting for me, by Dr. Sarah. Women, Food and Hormones. So that in my research and in my introspection, when I was looking at how to create for myself empowered systems, I was reading extensively on different areas of my life. So the essence of the message here is on paying attention to your hormones, how your body responds to particular hormones, and the food you eat, and how that impacts the reaction of the hormones in your body, and then ultimately resulting in you losing weight or not losing weight. My main reason of quoting this book is essentially on the 2 areas, which is food and hormones, how I can leverage that in making sure that I become more productive in terms of, making sure that my body is in the right space to work and the right space to relax or to sleep, and just making sure that I create systems that support my productivity generally. So I realized that food was a fundamental aspect of that. And there's a lot that happens in my body in terms of hormones during my cycle as a woman, and also paying attention to that is fundamental. I know the book is focused on diet and helping women lose weight, but I found it very useful in helping me understand hormonal changes in my body, and how I can actually leverage food as a tool that supports, the different chemical reactions happening in my body at different times of the month. So I thought it was a very good starting point to actually understand the chemical reaction, the science behind why do I act this way? Why do I feel motivated to do work? What's happening in my body? Why are my moods changing? So I thought this was a very good tool to firstly understand my body, how my body functions as a woman. The second book, which inspired this Empowered Systems, was this book I got from library at work. Actually, it's on stress solutions. It talks about 4 pillars of managing stress, which is looking into your mind, your body, relationships, and also your purpose. But my main reason of suggesting this book in as far as creating systems that are empowered for you is particularly on what it shares on mind and body, making sure that your mind is in a better space to perform. Your body also is healthy to perform. So it talks a lot about exercise and diet as well, and how you can make sure that you leverage that so that your body is in the right space to be productive, and also hence reducing stress. I mean, the whole point of the book is about stress management anyway. And the last book, which inspired the Empowered Systems, is this book by Professor Steve. I came across his writing from his book, The Chimp Paradox, which is on mind management. The book was recommended in one of our CPD meetings at work, and I really found it fascinating. The second one now, which talks a lot more about the science behind what resilience is, how the mind works. It was quite an insightful read for me in as far as understanding how my mind or my brain works. He uses lots of scientific terms to explain the processes behind decision making. So he talks about the mind being divided into 2, which is the human and the chimp. So the human uses logic, it uses facts to make decisions, and then it acts based on that. The chimp, on the other hand, uses emotions, and then it uses feelings a lot to make decisions. So understanding what fuels the chimp and understanding what fuels the human in my brain was very fundamental. The science behind that and how I can actually manage the chimp. I mean, not acting like we don't have emotions and feelings, but finding ways to manage the chimp so that we make better decisions. When it comes to productivity, I mean, we're talking about empowered systems here. You will want to do better in as far as, let's say, exercising is concerned. You set your reminders that every day at 8 a.m. you go to the gym, but for some whatever reason you don't feel motivated on some days. How does your chimp influence that decision, and how can you actually manage that chimp? So it's actually about working with the chimp and the human together to making better decisions for yourself. So the collective information of these 2 books really helped me in structuring my systems, and I'm in the process also of improving daily on what I can do better around the systems I've created for myself. Now, as a tool that helps me better visualize what happens in my body, as I talked about in Women, Food and Hormones by Dr. Sarah, I have created a Notion template which helps you understand the human cycle, rather the menstrual cycle, and what happens at each phase of our cycles, and how can I actually leverage the changes that happen in my body in a positively to be able to be more productive and take advantage of days where I'm more excited about work, and also still finding something productive to do on the days I'm not so excited. So what you have here is the feminine productivity template I've created on Notion. So I start on the template with a picture of basically the menstrual cycle, which is typically 28 days for most people. That is if you have a regular cycle. So it was taken from NHS website. So your cycle starts on the first day of your period, and that usually lasts between 4 to 5 days for most people. But for some extreme cases, you find that it goes all the way to 6 and 7 days. So as you approach the end of your period, you start to see a rise in the hormone estrogen in your body. So what is estrogen responsible for in our bodies? It's responsible for female productivity, for sexual development, and it also plays a key role in other body systems like, bone health, cardiovascular health, cognitive function, etc. So these hormone influences neurotransmitters like the serotonin and dopamine and how your brain processes emotions and information. So as you see a rise in this hormone as you approach the end of your period and when you get into the next phase, which is the follicular phase, you are more likely to feel on top of the world and excited and really ready to work on tasks that are exciting and challenging. So this is a time now to take advantage of your mood. Just below that picture in the template, I have created 5 suggestions on what you can do on each particular time of the month. So in the menstrual phase, for example, it's a time to rest and reflect, looking at how you can do tasks that involve less concentration or less physical activity, and do tasks that are gentle, something like planning, journaling, and just making sure that you pay attention to just 3 tasks for the day or for the week. I've also highlighted on the type of movement you can take advantage of at this time of the month, which involve yoga, stretching, and just short walks. Resting also is an important activity that you have to incorporate during this time of the month. Foods that you have to pay attention to involve warm, iron-rich foods like leafy vegetables, dark chocolate, beetroot, beans, bone broth, etc. So this helps you then to plan ahead in terms of what you're going to eat around this time of the month, and also what activities are going to do. If you're going to the gym, what activities are you going to do in the gym? When it comes to your to-do list, you don't want to do activities that take a lot of mental strain, because it's going to be demotivating for you if you are finding a challenge at this time of the month. In the follicular phase, when you see a rise in estrogen, on the other hand, it's a time to create and plan. So your to-do list is around new ideas. You want to try new things. You definitely want to start new projects and social planning. So your to-do list must be centered around those things. When it comes to food, make sure that you focus more on fresh and light foods like, citrus, berries, protein, yogurt, and sprouted grains. That helps your body stay in that phase of being innovative and excited about new things and creating and planning. When it comes to movement, this is your time to do your cardio. This is your time to do strength training and also dancing if you're somebody who likes doing that. Again, let me just go back to the picture that I have here. And as we see, as you go on to the second phase of our menstrual cycle, we see a drop now in the hormone estrogen and a rise a bit on progesterone. What is progesterone? It is normally called a calming hormone because it promotes relaxation. It helps reduce feelings of stress and anxiety. So as you see a rise in this hormone in your luteal phase, you are more likely to feel low energy. So your body just wants to relax and rest. So you are going to feel less motivated to do challenging tasks this time of the month. You are going to feel low in terms of mood and self-esteem. So going back to activities suggested in this time of the month, that you want to make sure that you focus on slowing down and focusing on executing tasks if it's possible. You want to focus on things that help you declutter around your house, like, home organizing, because your mind is just in a space to rest and relax. So you want to make sure you create a space for relaxing and resting around you. So when it comes to food, focusing more on complex carbohydrates and calming foods like your herbal soups, your chamomile teas, and just finding time to wind down and doing like your skincare routine, your evening wind down is helpful to be in that phase of resting and slowing down. But it doesn't mean that you forget about your to-do list. It's just that means that this time of the month, you want to focus on tasks that involve less of detailed work. You want to focus on less of new things or new challenges because you are not in the state where you're feeling most excited about challenge. So as you plan ahead in your month for your to-do list, you want to make sure that you consider these things. And lastly, I have created a time audit which is going to help you to structure your flow. So now that we've covered the feminine productivity and looking into paying attention to your cycle, I think it's time to now try implementing new changes in your structure. So I have also created a template on Notion that's going to help you create like evening and morning routines. You have to start small. You can't change everything in one go. So you might want to start with an evening routine or a morning routine or both, but just incorporating bits and pieces at a go. So in this template here, I have suggested some of the checklists that you might want to look into when it comes to productivity. When it comes to your morning routines and your evening routines. So for your morning routines, you want to look at time. You want to create time for preparation and presence. You want to give yourself enough time to wake up in the morning and do your stretching, do your journaling, and just proper planning for your day. So you want to make sure that you create a space to have yourself, to be you. It's important that before you start the hustle of the day, your full-time job, you have enough time in the morning to just be with yourself, drinking your water, drinking your herbal tea, and just taking time to nourish yourself. And it's important also to do some light movements to activate your body and your mind, and then focus on intention, on looking at what's the most important thing for the day. At least 3 priorities for the day. So you just want to zoom into that and actually write them down. And what are you going to do for each part of those 3 priorities? Now, coming to the evening routine checklist, again, you want to make sure that you end your day softly and with intention, not with judgment or exhaustion. So look at the transitioning from the hustle of the day to now light movements and slowing down routines, skincare rituals, and digital sunset, finding time to just be away from your phone at a certain time of your evening. And lastly, some reflection and reset helps you to slow down with intention, but also, most importantly, it helps you to know where you're starting off the next morning. So if you can as well, make sure that you prepare ahead for what you're going to have tomorrow. If you go to the gym in the morning, make sure that you pack your gym bag the night before, so that in the morning it's easy for you to just carry on with what you've planned the previous night. So it's important also to make sure that you recharge your brain. So give yourself enough time to sleep, give yourself enough time to rest. So in this template, these are some of the activities you can do in your evening routine. Obviously, you can edit them there if you want to, or change the activities according to what you are doing and your needs. And as you go on through your week, you can be able to actually highlight if you're able to do that on Monday, on Tuesday. And at the end of the week, you can reset the week on this button here. So the reset is quite useful because you can actually change some activities. So maybe for this week, you're not attending your dance classes. You might want to put something different there. So it just helps you to get started on your new slate. But then again, if you want to keep track of your progress generally for a month, you can then create a duplicate of these routines. So I hope that this video was helpful for you to get started in creating systems that work for you. The important thing is to making sure that you always start small. You cannot have massive changes in your routine because it's going to overwhelm you and you are going to lose momentum, and that's exactly what you don't want. So empowered systems, again, is all about creating a structure that flows and that's sustainable over time, and that, according to me, is productivity. If you found this video exciting and helpful, please make sure that you click the like button and you share it with people who might find it useful. Don't forget to check the templates I've linked here on the description box. And lastly, don't forget to check my website and the blog post that I've posted there. Thank you for sticking by to this end of this video. I hope to see you in the next one.